First Contact Fiasco, the Galactic Unity science vessel. Celestial observer drifted silently through the outer reaches of an unremarkable yellow star system. Captain Zoran stood on the bridge, his translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that betrayed his excitement. His 4 eyes blinked in asynchronous rhythms as he studied the holographic display before him. "Extraordinary," he whispered, the sound barely audible through his breathing membrane. "Absolutely extraordinary." Science Officer Kallax approached, her chitinous exoskeleton clicking softly against the ship's floor. "The signals continue unabated." "Captain, we've intercepted thousands now, all artificial, all originating from the third planet." The celestial observer had been charting this unremarkable sector of space when their sensors detected something unusual. Artificial radio transmissions, emanating from an unmarked planet. According to Galactic Unity records, this system contained no sentient life. "Analysis?" Zoran asked. Kallax's antennae twitched. The signals contain mathematical sequences, language patterns, and what appear to be entertainment broadcasts. "There is no doubt. This planet harbors an advanced civilization." "How did we miss this?" Zoran muttered, more to himself than to his officer. "The preliminary data suggests this planet would be classified as Class 12 under Unity standards," Kallax continued. "High gravity, elevated radiation levels, extreme temperature variations, aggressive indigenous life forms, and an oxygen-rich atmosphere." Zoran's bioluminescence pulsed with alarm. "A death world?" "Yes, Captain. Whatever species evolved there would be—" Kallax hesitated, searching for the appropriate term. "Formidable." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Death worlds were rare, planets so hostile that evolution took a brutal, accelerated path. Species from such worlds were typically stronger, faster, and more aggressive than their gentler world counterparts. They were the predators of the galaxy when they emerged. "We need more information," Zoran decided finally. "Launch observation probes into high orbit, but maintain our distance. Under no circumstances are we to make contact until we've reported back to Unity Command." "Yes, Captain," Kallax replied, relief evident in her voice. As the probes descended toward the blue-green planet, the ship's sensors continued to monitor the transmissions. One particular signal caught the attention of Communications Officer Trev. "Captain, I've isolated a repeating transmission from a military installation on the planet's northern continent," Trev reported. "It appears to be some sort of alert or warning." "On screen," Zoran ordered. The holographic display shifted, showing a waveform analysis of the signal alongside a partial translation. "Our translation matrix can't decode it completely," Trev explained, "but it seems to be a warning about unidentified objects entering their atmosphere." "Our probes," Zoran realized. "They've detected our probes." Before Zoran could order the probe's recall, the signal changed dramatically. "Captain," Trev's voice rose in pitch. "They're transmitting on all frequencies now. The pattern is consistent with what our records identify as a military alert." Kallax studied her own console. "Energy readings from the planet's surface are spiking. They appear to be activating defense systems." "Withdraw the probes immediately," Zoran commanded. "Prepare the ship for emergency departure." But it was too late. As the observation probes began their ascent, the planet's defense systems locked on. Beams of concentrated energy lanced upward from multiple surface installations, destroying 2 probes instantly. "They're launching vessels," Trev shouted. "Multiple spacecraft ascending from the planet's surface." The holographic display showed several sleek, angular craft rising through the atmosphere with alarming speed. "Their technology is far more advanced than we anticipated," Kallax said, her voice tight with stress. "Those vessels are powered by controlled fusion reactions." Zoran made a swift decision. "Set course away from the planet. Maximum speed. We need to reach the jump point and inform Unity Command immediately. As the Celestial Observer accelerated away from the system, the pursuing vessels continued their ascent. Their design was unlike anything in Unity records, clearly built for speed and aggression, bristling with what could only be weapon systems. "They're transmitting again," Trev reported. "This time directly at us." "Can we translate?" Zoran asked. "Partially. It appears to be a demand for identification and intention. Send a standard Unity greeting package on all frequencies," Zoran ordered. "Make it clear, we mean no harm." The Celestial Observer continued its retreat as the communication was transmitted. For several tense moments, the bridge crew waited. The pursuing vessels maintained their course but did not accelerate further. "They've received our transmission," Trev confirmed. "They're responding." The holographic display flickered, and for the first time, the Unity crew saw one of the planet's inhabitants. The alien was bipedal, with a rigid endoskeleton and pink-beige external tissue. It possessed only 2 eyes and appeared to be wearing some form of protective covering. Most striking was the lack of any obvious evolutionary adaptations. No claws, no armor, just soft tissue, and what appeared to be artificially created protection. "This is General Helena Chen of Earth Defense Command," the alien said, its words now processed through the ship's translation matrix. "You have violated sovereign Earth space and deployed unauthorized surveillance devices. Identify yourselves and state your purpose immediately, or we will consider your actions hostile." Zoran stepped forward, allowing the ship's visual sensors to capture his image for transmission. "I am Captain Zoran of the Galactic Unity Science Vessel Celestial Observer. We are peaceful explorers who discovered your world's transmissions. Our probes were purely scientific in nature. We meant no intrusion or harm." There was a pause as the translation was transmitted and processed. "Your scientific probes penetrated restricted military airspace and did not respond to hails," General Chen replied. "This is considered a hostile act under Earth defense protocols." "There has been a misunderstanding," Zoran insisted. "We did not recognize your hails as communication attempts. We are withdrawing from your system now as a sign of our peaceful intentions." General Chen's expression remained stern. "You will hold position. While we verify your claims, any attempt to flee will be interpreted as confirmation of hostile intent." Zoran turned to his navigation officer. "Continue course to the jump point. Increase speed." "Captain," Kallax warned, "that would directly contradict their instructions." "We cannot risk being captured or delayed," Zoran replied firmly. "Unity, Command must be informed of this discovery immediately. A potentially hostile Death World species with advanced technology changes the strategic balance of this entire sector." As the Celestial Observer accelerated, the pursuing Earth vessels immediately increased their speed as well. "They're gaining on us," Trev reported anxiously. "And they're charging weapon systems." "Time to jump point?" Zoran asked. 3 minutes, Captain. They'll intercept us before then," Kallax calculated. "Their vessels appear to have superior acceleration capabilities." Zoran's bioluminescence flashed in patterns of deep contemplation. "Send another transmission. Explain that we must report to our authorities but will return with official diplomatic representatives." The message was sent, but the Earth vessels continued their pursuit without response. 1 minute to weapons range, Trev warned. "Divert power from non-essential systems to engines," Zoran ordered, "and prepare a data package for emergency transmission to Unity Command. Include all our observations and sensor readings." The Celestial Observer surged forward, straining its engines beyond safety parameters. Behind them, the Earth vessels adjusted course to match. "Transmission from Earth forces," Trev announced. "Final warning to decelerate and prepare for boarding, or they will open fire." "Ignore it," Zoran commanded. "Jump point in 60 seconds." The first energy burst from the lead Earth vessel flashed past the Celestial Observer's starboard side, a warning shot. 30 seconds to jump point," the navigation officer called out. The second shot struck the ship's aft section, sending tremors throughout the vessel. Warning indicators flashed across multiple consoles. "Minor damage to propulsion systems," Kallax reported. "We're still capable of jump." 10 seconds, the navigation officer counted down. A barrage of energy weapons fire engulfed the space around the celestial observer, several impacts registering on the ship's protective fields. "Jump now," Zorin ordered, space distorted around. The science vessel, as it tore through the fabric of reality, escaping into the safety of hyperspace. Behind them, the Earth vessels pulled back, unable to follow. In the sudden quiet of hyperspace, Zorin surveyed his shaken crew. "Send the data package to Unity Command immediately. Mark it urgent and classified." "What do we tell them, Captain?" Kallax asked quietly. Soren's bioluminescence dimmed to a solemn glow. "The truth. We've discovered a previously unknown Death World species with advanced technology and apparent military aggression, and we've likely just provoked them." As the celestial observer continued its journey through hyperspace, the crew couldn't shake the feeling that they had just changed the course of galactic history, possibly for the worse. Back on Earth, General Chen stood in the command center, surrounded by her senior staff, watching the alien vessel vanish from their sensors. "Analysis?" she demanded. Colonel Martinez stepped forward. The vessel appeared to be lightly armed, primarily scientific in nature. However, its faster-than-light capabilities are beyond our current technology. "Could it have been a scout for an invasion force?" asked another officer. "Possible, but their retreat suggests otherwise," Chen replied. "Still, we can't take chances. Implement Defense Protocol Omega. I want every military asset on high alert, and I need to brief the Security Council immediately." As the command center erupted into activity, Chen stared at the empty spot on the tactical display where the alien ship had disappeared. "Something tells me they'll be back," she murmured. "And probably not alone." The Galactic Crisis 3 standard cycles. After the Celestial Observer incident, Ambassador Lorath stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel Harmonic Accord, gazing at the blue-green planet that had thrown the galactic unity into crisis. Earth, as its inhabitants called it, looked deceptively peaceful from this distance, its swirling cloud patterns and vast oceans masking the evolutionary crucible that had forged one of the most concerning species the Unity had ever encountered. "Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from Earth's orbital defense platform," communications specialist Vren announced. Lorath straightened his ceremonial robes, the iridescent fabric catching the light from the nearby star. Unlike Captain Zorin, whose species communicated partially through bioluminescence, Lorath's people relied on spoken language and subtle pheromones. He had been chosen specifically for this mission because his species appeared less alien to the humans, according to the xenopsychologists. "Put it through," he instructed. The view screen activated, revealing the now familiar face of a human. This one was different from General Chen, darker skin, male presentation, with decorative fabric around his neck that Unity analysts believed indicated high diplomatic status. "This is Secretary General Okafor of the United Earth Government," the Ebbe human stated. "Your vessel has been granted limited diplomatic clearance to approach Earth Station Alpha. Any deviation from the designated approach vector will result in immediate defensive action. Do you understand these terms?" "Perfectly, Secretary General," Lorath replied with practiced calm. "We appreciate your willingness to engage in dialogue. The Galactic Unity seeks only peaceful relations with Earth." Okafor's expression remained neutral. "That remains to be seen, Ambassador. Your observation vessel's actions were interpreted as hostile reconnaissance. Many on our Security Council view your return as confirmation of threatening intent." "A regrettable misunderstanding," Lorath assured him. "One which I hope our discussions will clarify. Captain Zorin was a scientist, not a diplomat. His mission was purely exploratory." Then he should have announced his presence before deploying surveillance devices, Okafor countered. Approach coordinates are being transmitted to your vessel. Now, Okafor out. As the transmission ended, Lorath turned to his diplomatic team. Their suspicion is understandable. From their perspective, an unknown alien vessel appeared without warning and deployed devices that could have been weapons. Security Coordinator Netch, a stocky being with dense musculature evolved for a higher gravity world, scoffed. They overreacted. A civilized species would have attempted communication first. That assumes they think like we do, countered xenosociologist Min, her tendrils waving gently to emphasize her point. Remember what we're dealing with, a death world species. Their evolutionary history is marked by constant threat and competition. Defensive aggression would be a survival trait. Nevertheless, Lorath interjected, our mission is clear. We must establish diplomatic relations and determine whether humans represent a threat to unity security. The Harmonic Accord followed the designated approach vector, flanked at a distance by Earth's defense vessels. Their design had been studied extensively from the Celestial Observer's recordings, sleek, predatory, optimized for speed and offensive capability. Every aspect of human technology seemed to reflect their evolutionary heritage. We're receiving docking instructions, Vren announced. As the diplomatic vessel maneuvered into position alongside Earth Station Alpha, the observation deck provided a stunning view of the orbital facility. Unlike the organic-inspired architecture favored by most Unity species, the human station was angular and utilitarian, bristling with communication arrays and what appeared to be weapons platforms. Their engineering is impressive, Min noted, especially considering they've only achieved spaceflight within the last century. Rapid advancement is another Death World characteristic, Netch reminded her. Adapt quickly or perish. Once docked, the diplomatic team prepared to disembark. Lorath had spent countless hours studying human protocols and customs, but uncertainty still gnawed at him. This was the Unity's first official contact with a Death World species that had achieved interstellar capability. The stakes couldn't be higher. Remember, he instructed his team, maintain respectful distance. Humans have strong territorial instincts and may interpret close proximity as threatening. Avoid sudden movements. And most importantly, do not show signs of fear or disgust, no matter how you may react to their appearance or mannerisms. The airlock cycled, and Lorath led his team onto Earth Station Alpha. A delegation of humans waited to receive them, led by Secretary General Okafor. Lorath immediately noticed the armed guards positioned strategically throughout the docking bay, a clear message that trust had not yet been established. Ambassador Lorath, Okafor greeted, extending his hand in what Unity cultural specialists had identified as a customary greeting gesture. Lorath mimicked the action, carefully grasping the human's hand. The contact sent an involuntary shiver through him. The human's body temperature was significantly higher than his own, a reminder of their different metabolic rates. Secretary General Okafor, I bring greetings from the Galactic Unity Council. We are honored by this opportunity for dialogue between our civilizations. As they moved toward the conference room, Lorath noted the station's internal design, efficient, practical, but with surprising aesthetic elements. Artwork depicting Earth landscapes and historical events lined the corridors, suggesting cultural values beyond mere survival. The conference room itself was a circular chamber with a large table at its center. The Earth delegation took positions. On one side, the Unity representatives on the other, a physical manifestation of the divide they needed to bridge. Before we begin formal discussions, Okafor said, I believe clarity about the Celestial Observer incident is required. Our people deserve to know why alien surveillance devices were deployed over our military installations without warning. Lorath nodded. A regrettable consequence of standard Unity exploration protocols. When we discover signals from an uncontacted world, we typically observe discreetly before making direct contact. This prevents cultural contamination and allows us to prepare appropriate first contact procedures. You spied on us, stated Defense Minister Chung bluntly. We observed, Lorath corrected gently, with no harmful intent. Captain Zorin was not expecting to find advanced technology or immediate detection of the observation probes. And now that you've observed us, Okafor asked, what are the Unity's intentions toward Earth? Before Lorath could respond, an alarm blared throughout the station. Okafor's aide rushed into the conference room, leaning down to whisper urgently in the Secretary General's ear. Okafor's expression darkened. It seems our discussions will need to be postponed. Multiple unidentified vessels have just entered the solar system. Ambassador, are these yours? Lorath felt his skin pale. No, the Harmonic Accord is the only Unity vessel dispatched to Earth. The conference room's display activated, showing tactical readings of the approaching vessels. Even to Lorath's untrained eye, their configuration was unmistakable. Krazak warships, he whispered, horror rising within him. You know these vessels? Okafor demanded. Lorath nodded grimly. The Krazak Imperium is a predatory, expansionist regime that exists beyond Unity space. They raid developing worlds for resources and slaves. We've been in conflict with them for generations. And they just happened to arrive during our first diplomatic meeting? Defense Minister Chung's voice dripped with suspicion. I assure you, we did not lead them here, Lorath insisted. But he hesitated, realization dawning. The Celestial Observer's emergency transmission could have been intercepted. If the Krazak learned of an undiscovered world with advanced technology, the implication hung in the air. Earth was now a target. How many vessels? Okafor asked his aide. 23, sir. Configuration unknown, but their weapons are hot, and they're on direct approach to Earth. Okafor turned to Lorath, his expression hard. It seems, Ambassador, that your exploration has brought war to our doorstep. The Unity. We'll stand with Earth against the Krazak, Lorath declared without hesitation. I can request immediate reinforcements. How convenient, Chung scoffed. First you expose us, then you offer protection, creating dependency. Minister, Lorath countered. The Krazak are a threat to both our civilizations. This is not a time for suspicion, but for cooperation. Before the argument could escalate, another alert sounded. The tactical display updated, showing movement from Earth's defense platforms and orbital docks. The home fleet is deploying, explained Okafor's aide. All civilian vessels are being cleared from potential engagement zones. Lorath watched in astonishment as dozens of Earth warships emerged from concealed docks and orbital hangars. The Unity's intelligence estimates had severely underestimated Earth's military capabilities. Secretary General, Lorath said carefully, I strongly recommend establishing a joint command structure. The Krazak are experienced space combatants with technology beyond what Earth has encountered. Okafor studied Lorath for a long moment, weighing trustworthiness against necessity. Finally, he nodded. Minister Cheng, coordinate with the ambassador. We need all available intelligence on these Krazak vessels. As Cheng led Lorath to the tactical center, the ambassador caught glimpses through viewports of Earth's fleet forming, defensive patterns around the planet. The vessels moved with precision that spoke of extensive training and preparation. You've been expecting something like this, Lorath realized aloud. Chung gave him a grim smile. Humanity has always known we weren't alone in the universe. It would have been foolish not to prepare for the possibility that our first contact might be hostile. In the tactical center, officers rushed between stations as updates flowed in from the deploying fleet. Holographic displays showed the approaching Krazak vessels, their formation clearly designed for aggression rather than diplomacy. What can you tell us about their capabilities? Cheng asked Lorath. The Krazak favor overwhelming force, Lorath explained, studying the tactical displays. Their vessels are heavily armored, with powerful directed energy weapons. They typically launch fighter craft for close engagement while their capital ships provide long-range fire support. Weaknesses? Chung pressed. Their technology prioritizes offensive capability over maneuverability. Their targeting systems require momentary calibration before firing main weapons, a brief vulnerability window. Chung immediately began relaying this information to fleet commanders. Lorath watched in fascination as the human military apparatus absorbed and adapted to the new intelligence with remarkable speed. "Ambassador," called a communications officer. "We're receiving a transmission from the lead Krazak vessel. They're demanding Earth's immediate surrender and the turnover of all technological assets." "Standard Krazak procedure," Lorath confirmed. "They always offer the chance to surrender before attacking, but the terms are inevitably brutal." Okafor, who had joined them in the tactical center, straightened his shoulders. "Open a channel. Let's see what we're dealing with." The main display activated, revealing a Krazak commander, reptilian features, armored exoskeleton, eyes adapted for hunting. The universal translator processed its harsh, clicking language. "Primitive world, this is War Master Krazak of the Glorious Imperium. Your planet has been claimed for the greater glory of the Krazak. Surrender your technology, resources, and suitable population for labor assignment. Resistance will result in orbital bombardment of your population centers." Okafor stepped forward, his voice steady. "This is Secretary General Okafor of the United Earth Government. Earth belongs to humanity and will not surrender to threats. We recommend you reconsider your approach and depart peacefully." The Krazak War Master's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Your defiance is noted, prey species. It will make your subjugation more satisfying." The transmission cut abruptly. Moments later, the tactical displays showed the Krazak fleet accelerating toward Earth. "All vessels, combat stations," Chung ordered. "Defensive pattern Alpha. Prepare to engage." As Earth's fleet moved to intercept, Lorath sent an urgent transmission to Unity Space, requesting immediate reinforcements. Whether they would arrive in time was uncertain. "Your harmonic accord should withdraw to safety," Chung suggested to Lorath. "It's not a combat vessel." "No," Lorath replied firmly. "We will remain. Our sensors and communication arrays can provide tactical support, even if we cannot fight directly." The first exchange of fire occurred as the vanguard of Earth's fleet intercepted the approaching Krazak vessels. Energy weapons lanced across the void of space, met by the flare of defensive shields. "Their shields are holding against our primary weapons," reported a tactical officer. "Switch to sequential targeting patterns," Chung ordered. "Coordinate fire to overload localized sections of their shields." Lorath was impressed by the humans' tactical adaptability. Most species, when first encountering Krazak shields, continued to batter ineffectively against the entire defensive field. The humans had immediately identified a more efficient approach. The battle expanded as more ships engaged, transforming the space around Earth into a chaos of weapon fire, maneuvering vessels, and explosion flares. Earth's vessels, while technologically outmatched, used their superior numbers and maneuverability to harass the larger Krazak warships. "Their fighter screen is launching," warned a tactical officer. Hundreds of small Krazak attack craft spilled from the larger vessels, heading toward Earth's fleet in attack formation. "Counter with Talon squadrons," Chung commanded. Earth's own fighter craft launched to meet the threat, significantly outnumbering the Krazak fighters. What they lacked in technology, they made up for in numbers and aggression. "Ambassador," Okafor said quietly as they watched the battle unfold. "You said Unity reinforcements are coming?" "Yes," Lorath confirmed. "Though I cannot predict when they will arrive. Hyperspace transit times are variable." "Then we must hold until they do," Okafor stated simply, as if it were a matter of certainty rather than desperate hope. As the battle raged on, Lorath observed the human commanders with growing respect. They fought with a combination of calculated strategy and intuitive adaptation that kept the numerically inferior but technologically superior Krazak fleet off balance. "Sir," reported a communications officer, "we're detecting a new hyperspace signature at the system's edge." "Krazak reinforcements?" Chung asked tensely. "No," Lorath said, studying the readings. "Unity signatures. Our reinforcements have arrived. On the tactical display, 24 Unity warships emerged from hyperspace, immediately moving to engage the Krazak fleet from behind. Caught between Earth's determined defense and the unexpected Unity attack, the Krazak formation began to falter. "The War Master's vessel is attempting to reposition," noted a tactical officer. "Target their propulsion systems," Chung ordered. "Don't let them regroup." Earth and Unity vessels coordinated their fire on the Krazak flagship, overwhelming its shields and crippling its engines. As it drifted, powerless, the remaining Krazak vessels began to break formation. "They're retreating," announced the tactical officer, disbelief evident in his voice. Sure enough, the surviving Krazak vessels were engaging emergency drives, withdrawing from Earth space as quickly as possible. In the sudden quiet following the Yasi battle, Okafor turned to Lorath. "It seems we have something to discuss after all, Ambassador. Perhaps an alliance against common enemies." Lorath nodded, a new understanding forming between the representatives of two very different civilizations. "Indeed, Secretary General, I believe this is the beginning of a most productive relationship." Deathworlders United Admiral Kiana Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth Dreadnought Defiance, watching Unity engineers work alongside human technicians to integrate the alien targeting systems with the ship's weapons array. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, as historians were already calling it, cooperation between humanity and the galactic Unity had progressed with remarkable speed. "Admiral," reported her executive officer, Commander Rodriguez, "the Unity flagship, Justice Ascendant, has completed jump preparations. Admiral Zorax requests your final confirmation before the fleet departs." Chen nodded, her expression determined. "Send confirmation. All Earth vessels are ready to proceed with Operation Reciprocity." The combined Earth-Unity fleet represented the largest military force either civilization had assembled in generations. 53 Unity warships and 78 Earth vessels, crewed by beings from a dozen different worlds. Their target, the Krazak homeworld system. After the failed invasion of Earth, Unity intelligence had tracked the retreating Krazak ships, finally identifying the location of their central worlds. What had begun as a defensive action was now becoming a preemptive strike against a mutual threat. "Entering final countdown for synchronized jump," announced the navigation officer. 10 minutes to departure." Chen turned as Ambassador Lorath entered the bridge. In the months since their first meeting, the diplomat had become a trusted advisor and friend. His insights into galactic politics had proved invaluable as Earth navigated its sudden entrance onto the interstellar stage. "Admiral Chen," Lorath greeted her. "I've just received confirmation from the Unity Council. The diplomatic package has been approved for delivery after military objectives are secured." Chen raised an eyebrow. "The Council actually agreed to peace terms? I thought they wanted unconditional surrender." "Your Security Council was persuasive," Lorath replied with a slight smile. "The argument that lasting peace requires honorable terms made an impression on my colleagues." The Admiral nodded thoughtfully. It had been a point of contention between the Allies. Unity protocols called for the complete dismantling of enemy military capability, while Earth's historical experience suggested that humiliation bred future conflict. 5 minutes to jump," called the navigation officer. Chen moved to the command station, activating the fleet-wide communication system. "All vessels, this is Admiral Chen. Today we embark on a mission not just of retaliation, but of security. For both our civilizations, the Krazak Imperium has preyed upon developing worlds for generations. Their attack on Earth demonstrated their intentions toward all free peoples." She paused, looking around at the mixed crew of humans and Unity species working together on her bridge. 6 months ago, most of us didn't know the other existed. Today, we fight as one. The Krazak believed they could exploit divisions between our civilizations. Instead, they have forged a bond that will reshape this galaxy. Good hunting, and remember, we fight not for vengeance, but for a future where no world fears raiders from the stars. As the communication ended, Lorath stepped closer. An inspiring message, Admiral. Though I notice you didn't mention the intelligence, indicating that the Krazak are preparing a second, larger assault on Earth. No need, Chen replied quietly. My people fight better to protect the future than to avenge the past. A remarkable quality, Lorath observed. Most species from death worlds develop profound vengeance instincts. Chen smiled slightly. Who says we haven't? We've just learned to channel them constructively. 1 minute to jump, announced the navigation officer. Throughout the fleet, crews secured for faster-than-light transit. On dozens of vessels, beings from worlds that had never communicated before now worked side by side, united by common purpose. Jump drives engaged, reported the engineering officer. Synchronized transit in 3, 2, 1. Reality distorted around the combined fleet as 78 human vessels and 53 Unity ships simultaneously tore through the fabric of space-time, disappearing from Earth's solar system and emerging light years away in Krazak territory. The Krazak homeworld system was a binary star arrangement with 7 planets, the third of which served as the Imperium's capital. Unlike Earth or most Unity worlds, this was no blue-green haven, but a scorched, high-gravity planet with an atmosphere heavy in sulfur compounds. A death world in its own right. Transit complete, reported the navigation officer. All vessels accounted for. Perfect synchronization. Tactical assessment, Chen ordered. The main display activated, showing the Krazak system's defenses, orbital platforms, defense fleets, and planetary shield generators. Intelligence had been accurate. The Krazak had indeed been preparing for another campaign, with dozens of warships gathered in formation. They weren't expecting us, noted Commander Rodriguez. Their fleet is in standard orbital pattern, not combat formation. We have approximately 3 minutes before they realize we're not friendly, Chen calculated. Deploy according to the attack plan. Unity vessels focus on their orbital defenses. Earth fleet will engage their warships. As orders were relayed throughout the combined fleet, vessels moved with practiced precision into attack positions. 6 months of joint training exercises had forged them into a cohesive fighting force that leveraged the strengths of both civilizations. Enemy. Vessels are breaking orbit, reported the tactical officer. They're moving to defensive positions. Right on schedule, Chen nodded. Launch fighter screen. Tell the Artemis battle group to begin their attack run on the orbital platforms. Throughout the system, the carefully choreographed assault unfolded. Unity vessels, with their superior long-range weapons, targeted the Krazak's fixed defenses, while Earth's more maneuverable ships engaged the enemy fleet directly. Admiral, Lorath said, studying the tactical display, the Krazak are deploying differently than in previous engagements. Their formation is more defensive than we anticipated. Chen analyzed the enemy movements. They're protecting something. There, that orbital facility near the 7th planet. It wasn't in our intelligence briefing. Scanning, the sensor officer reported. The facility appears to be a shipyard. Admiral, I'm detecting multiple large vessels under construction. Based on their configuration, they appear to be planet killer class. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Planet killers, vessels capable of rendering a world uninhabitable through massive bombardment, were considered abhorrent by every civilized species. Adjust targeting priorities, Chen ordered, her voice hard. I want that shipyard destroyed. Authorization for nuclear payloads. As the battle expanded across the system, the Krazak defenders fought with increasing desperation. They recognized, too late, that this was not a raid, but an existential threat to their Imperium. "Enemy flagship is hailing us," reported the communications officer. "On screen," Chen commanded. The image of War Master Krazak appeared, his reptilian features contorted with rage. "How dare you invade the sacred homeworld of the Imperium? Your worlds will burn for this sacrilege." "War Master," Chen replied calmly, "your forces attacked an innocent world without provocation. You threatened Earth with enslavement and destruction. Now you face the consequences of your aggression." "You are nothing," Krazak spat. "Primitive creatures allied with Unity weaklings. The Krazak have ruled the stars since before your ancestors crawled from the mud." "And yet," Chen observed, "here we are in your home system, destroying your defenses while you watch helplessly. Surrender now, and your people will be spared." Krazak's only response was a guttural roar before terminating the transmission. "They're launching their reserve fleet," reported the tactical officer. 37 additional vessels, emerging from the far side of the fourth planet. Chen studied the tactical display, analyzing the new threat. "Right into our trap. Signal Admiral Zorax to execute Phase 3. On the far edge of the system, a third of the Unity fleet that had appeared to be engaged with orbital platforms suddenly broke off, executing a flanking maneuver that would catch the Krazak reserves between two forces. The Krazak don't adapt well to multi-layered strategies, Lorath commented. Their evolutionary history as apex predators makes them overconfident. A common death world trait, Chen agreed. Though humanity learned to overcome it through our many internal conflicts, nothing teaches military innovation like fighting enemies who think exactly like you do. As the battle progressed, the combined Earth Unity tactics consistently outmaneuvered the Krazak defenders. The aliens fought fiercely but predictably, unable to counter strategies they had never encountered before. "Admiral," Commander Rodriguez reported, "the shipyard is exposed. The defense fleet has been drawn away." "Signal the Leonidas strike group," Chen ordered. "Execute primary mission now." 3 Earth vessels broke from the main engagement, accelerating toward the previously identified shipyard. Each carried specialized warheads designed to penetrate the facility's defenses before detonating. "Strike group reports weapons lock," the tactical officer announced. "Missiles away." On the tactical display, symbols representing the specialized warheads streaked toward the shipyard. Point defense systems managed to intercept 2, but the remaining 6 struck their targets with precision. "Direct hits," confirmed the tactical officer. "The shipyard's structural integrity is failing. Secondary explosions detected throughout the facility. The massive orbital construction yard began to break apart, massive sections tearing away as internal explosions cascaded through its framework. The incomplete planet-killer vessels, still attached to construction berths, were torn apart in the conflagration. "Message from War Master Krazak," the communications officer reported. "Audio only." "Play it," Chen instructed. Krazak's voice filled the bridge, strained and furious. "You have destroyed generations of work. The revenge of the Imperium will be terrible. We will never surrender to lesser beings." Chen signaled for the transmission to be muted. "He's becoming irrational, dangerous. Krazak psychology makes defeat almost incomprehensible to them," Lorath explained. "Their entire society is built around the concept of superiority and conquest." "Then we need to deliver a message they can't ignore," Chen decided. "Target their orbital defense headquarters. Maximum visible impact, minimal casualties." The order was relayed, and minutes later, the Krazak's primary military command station erupted in a spectacular but contained explosion that disabled its systems without destroying the structure entirely. "The Krazak fleet is faltering," reported the tactical officer. "Multiple vessels are breaking formation. Some appear to be standing down weapons." "Admiral Zorax is hailing," the communications officer announced. The Unity Admiral's image appeared, on screen. Unlike most Unity species, Zorax's people evolved on a higher gravity world, giving him a stockier build and denser musculature that looked almost human compared to beings like Lorath. Admiral Chen, Zorax greeted, mandibles clicking in their species equivalent of satisfaction. The Krazak Central Fleet is neutralized. We're detecting communications from planetary authorities requesting cessation of hostilities. Not from War Master Krazak? Chen asked. No, Zorax confirmed. It appears the military leadership is being overruled by their civilian governance, an unprecedented development in Krazak history. Chen exchanged a glance with Lorath. It seems our strategy worked. By targeting their future capabilities rather than their population centers, we've created division between their military and civilian leaders. A very human approach, Lorath acknowledged with approval. Most Unity tacticians would have simply overwhelmed all resistance systematically. Inform planetary authorities that we accept their request for dialogue, Chen instructed the communications officer. But all military assets must stand down immediately and submit to Unity oversight. As the combined fleet secured the Krazak system, teams of diplomats prepared for the challenging work ahead. The Imperium that had terrorized its neighbors for generations had been defeated not through annihilation, but through strategic precision and unexpected cooperation between civilizations. 3 days later, Admiral Chen stood in the observation lounge of the Defiance, watching shuttles transport diplomatic personnel to the neutral station where peace negotiations would take place. Beside her, Lorath studied a data tablet containing preliminary terms. The Krazak civilian leadership is being surprisingly reasonable, the ambassador noted. They've already agreed to demilitarization of their outer systems and reparations to worlds they've raided. Fear is a powerful motivator, Chen replied. They've just witnessed their supposedly invincible military defeated by a coalition they didn't believe could exist. More than that, Lorath said, setting down the tablet. They've encountered something outside their evolutionary experience, mercy. No enemy has ever defeated the Krazak without attempting to eradicate them. It has confused them. Chen smiled slightly. Sometimes confusion is the beginning of understanding. A very human perspective, Lorath observed. Your species continues to surprise the Unity. When we first discovered Earth and classified it as a death world, many council members argued for containment rather than contact. Containment? Chen raised an eyebrow. A policy of isolation and monitoring for potentially dangerous species, Lorath explained. The reasoning being that death world species tend toward aggression and expansion, potentially threatening galactic stability. And now? Now they're discussing offering Earth full membership in the Unity, something unprecedented for a newly contacted world. Your people have demonstrated that Death World evolution produces not just physical capabilities, but unique cognitive and social adaptations. The door to the observation lounge slid open, and Commander Rodriguez entered. Admiral Ambassador, the preliminary signing ceremony is ready to begin. Together, they walked to the shuttle bay where representatives from Earth, the Unity, and, under heavy guard, the Krazak Imperium would formalize the end of hostilities and the beginning of a new galactic arrangement. What happens after the treaty? Chen asked as they walked. Earth is still new to interstellar politics. We'll need guidance. The Unity will establish a permanent diplomatic mission on Earth, Lorath replied. And I suspect many Unity worlds will be eager to establish trade relations. Your planet's resources may be common, but your people's perspectives and innovations are unique. And the Krazak? Rehabilitation will be challenging but not impossible. Their society must transition from conquest to cooperation, a process that took most Unity species generations. They reached the shuttle bay, where a Unity diplomatic vessel waited to transport them to the neutral station. As they boarded, Chen took a final look at the assembled fleet that had made history, not just by defeating a threat, but by forging an unprecedented alliance. 6 months earlier, humanity had no idea they shared the galaxy with other intelligent life. Now they stood at the forefront of a new chapter in interstellar relations, their unique evolutionary heritage proving to be not a limitation, but their greatest strength. The shuttle detached from the Defiance, carrying representatives of worlds light years apart who had found common cause despite their differences. As they approached the negotiation station, Chen reflected that perhaps this was humanity's true role in the galaxy, not conquerors or victims, but bridges between different evolutionary paths. "You know," she said to Lorath as the shuttle docked, "on Earth we have a saying, the most dangerous storms produce the most beautiful rainbows." "Poetic," Lorath replied. "What does it mean?" Chen smiled as they prepared to disembark. "It means that from crisis comes opportunity. The Krazak threatened both our worlds, but in doing so they brought us together. Now we have the chance to build something greater than either of us could have achieved alone." "A very human perspective indeed," Lorath said, genuine appreciation in his voice. "Perhaps that is exactly what the galaxy has been missing." Together, the representatives of Earth and the Unity stepped into the negotiation chamber, ready to reshape the future of not just their own civilizations, but the entire galaxy. The Deathworlders had arrived on the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as partners in peace, and the stars would never be the same again. The end.